Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Martin Mrazik. I'm a psychologist, and on behalf of the IIHF, we are very pleased to have Vicky Sunohara. She's a three-time Olympic medalist, trailblazer in the sport of women's hockey. She has been a National Coach of the Year, and she's joining us today to talk about player wellness. Vicky, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, Vicky, tell us just a little bit. You're a very busy person, but tell us what are some of the things that you're keeping busy with these days?
Yes, super busy with the beginning of our University of Toronto women's ice hockey season. We're just finishing up our preseason. Also busy with the U18 women's national team program. I've taken on head coach of that. We had a couple weeks in August and for training camp, and we had a series against the U.S. We're continuing to scout, and we'll be at the U18 Women's National Championships to select a team that will compete in the U18 Women's World Championships in January. And it's not happening yet, but I'm excited to be a part of the Toronto Scepters again.
So the life of a coach is a busy one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're talking about player wellness and performance, and I know that you have had a lot to contribute in this area. Can you just tell us some of the ways that you like to support athletes in the area of player wellness?
Well, I think it's really important to always have check-ins with your athletes. We have worked with Hone, and it's an athlete wellness. It's a survey, and it's anonymous. I always find that sometimes our student athletes or athletes in general are a little hesitant to let coaches or staff know how they're feeling. So our wellness survey is anonymous. And so we read that weekly, and we get a sense of where our players are at, how they're feeling, how they're coping with their studies, their social life, their training, their fatigue levels, their relationships. So we get a pretty good idea. And if it means maybe canceling a practice or changing to, a meeting or a team building event, we have some information with that will help us guide. And we also meet with our leadership group and try to have a good connection with our athletes. I mean, at the end of the day, if they're not feeling well, if they're not feeling well mentally, if they're struggling, if they're exhausted, you're not going to get the best out of them. And our goal is to try to help them be the best that they can be. So there's different things, different strategies, but the wellness surveys and the communication are definitely helpful.
So I hear a lot of just that connection with your athletes. That's something you put a lot of investment in, but being connected with their athletes and just understanding how they're doing really is important for their well-being, the team's well-being. And then you mentioned performance, and when a player is struggling in some of those areas, but you as a coach, just having that connection with them, that seems to be a real important point of emphasis for you to just really know your players, know where they're at. And that's an important part of how you go about coaching and really supporting them.
Yes, and it's, there's different times of the season. As right now, it's pretty busy preseason. When you're at training camps, there's a lot of things to consider. And so we get busy, and we have to be reminded as well that to have those checkpoints and to check in and to see how the athletes are doing. But I also think it's a two-way, it's a two-way responsibility where we can't sometimes read minds if people are having a difficult time. The surveys help, but with anonymous, we don't know exactly who it is. So I hope that with our open door policy and time that we have where we're available, and just communicating that, it does get busy, but please reach out if you're having any difficulties or just want to chat.
So those open doors of communication, and that sure seems to be, you've probably seen some real changes and shifts in the way player-coaches relationships are and the way players react these days with social media being what it is. There's just so much more there. And so it just sounds like as a coach, the way you approach it is there's a lot for you to manage, but it's also that's really important for you to have that constant connection for your players, because when you have that, it seems to really be an important part of their wellness and performance.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that we really try to do a good job of having that face-to-face communication as opposed to, doing it online or doing it in a text, having those conversations kind of like one-on-one or, well, one with maybe two coaches and to really try to connect like that. And I think that that may be getting lost these days with the social media and the quick, sending a text instead of being able to communicate, face to face. So hopefully we'll continue to have those meetings and do a good job of, allowing athletes to connect and not have to, be behind a screen while doing so.
Yeah, that true person to person connection. So for one last question here, Vicky, just tell us a little bit of the impact that you felt that you've been able to have. You've had a lot of success at different levels of sport, but your approach to really prioritizing player wellness and performance. Just tell us just a little bit for you, the impact that you feel that the approach that you've taken can have in a positive way on young players.
Well, it all goes hand in hand. We tend to spend a lot of time on the ice with skills or, on video. But at the end of the day, if again, people aren't feeling well and they're not feeling like they're supported or valued, that the performance will suffer. So for us, I think that it's easy to talk about. Yeah, we support players, but what we really have to take a look at, what are we doing? It's one thing to say we support players and we provide and we connect and we care about their well-being and them as people, but we have to take a look at what we're doing. And I think that that's something, it's been important to myself and to our coaching staff. The same with the national team program, our U18s, that it is important and we can't just talk about it. We have to act on it. And if the feedback is that they don't feel supported, well, we have to take a look and see what we can do. I think that, the skill piece is one, but if people aren't feeling valued, that you may not get the most out of them. And it really is, an important, I think in team success, they all go hand in hand. And I think mentally, physically, if people are at their best and they're feeling their best and feel supported, I think that that is more of a recipe for success than just one area.
Love that. When players are feeling supported, that's when they're most likely to be at their best. Great stuff. Well, thanks again for joining us, Vicky. Just such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for all the things that you do in coaching. And on behalf of the IIHF, we're really appreciative of your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.